Hey guys, this is Lindsay. We are going to be talking about SeeSaw today, which is a student-driven portfolio system. So it's a great way to share student work and highlight student work to share with your administrators, teachers, and parents as well. It's great and very easy to use. There's an iPad app. We will take a peek at that. We're also going to take a peek at the web version, but there's also a Chromebook version that you can use. That is wonderful. So it's an app in the Chrome web store, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do, I'm in Chrome, and you can go to seesaw.me. That's important. It's the .me. So this is a newbie. This is a startup, started probably 6 or 9 months ago, and it's a really great tool for you to check out. So the first thing that we're going to do, you'll see that there's SeeSaw for Schools. So this is something that you can pay for, and administrators can see the access to all student data and what has been uploaded into each class. Now, if you're not interested in paying for this, it is free. There is a great free version for you. So you're just going to sign in or sign up and get yourself logged in. So at this landing page, we have teacher, student, and parent. Parents can sign up by code or QR code that's sent home. If parents want to save student work for more than one school year, then SeeSaw asks the parents to pay $9.99 a year, which I think is a bargain. So I'm going to go ahead and select I'm a teacher, and here we have the option to create an account or sign in. So I'm going to sign in, but if you have not been into SeeSaw yet, you're going to do create account, and then you can do the teacher sign in with Google, which will link your Google Drive, your CMS Google Drive, with your SeeSaw account, which is the same email address. So that's kind of the best of both worlds, and that's what I would suggest doing. Okay, so it says I have no classes yet, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how easy it is to start and build a class. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to click on Lindsay Sipe, and I'm going to do + new class. So I'm going to add a class. And how do you want your students to sign into your class? So a class code is perfect if you are sharing devices. If you are not sharing devices, then having their student ID at student.cms.k12.nc.us for those students that are using a Chromebook. This is the perfect way for them to go. So I'm just going to use class code, and I'm going to name it Miss Sipe Math. Okay. And select my grade level, 3rd grade teacher, and I'm going to start adding my students in. Now, as I add them in, if I have a new student, I can come in and add more later. I can also paste a list of students. So in PowerSchool, if you get the Excel export, copy and paste your students in. That way you are not having to do one student at a time. So I'll just throw a few students in here. So I have all my students in here. Obviously you're going to put in last name so they have access to it. So it's creating a class. All right. Now what you will do is you will print out these guys, and students can use the QR scanner in SeeSaw on the app to scan, and then it will enroll them in the course. You also can sign in with just a class code. So I have my students set up over here. So the first thing we have the journal here, and this is the feed, right? So think of this as Facebook. This is your Facebook wall. As you add work for your students, it's going to populate here. Okay. If you're looking for just one student, let's say it's Jamie's conference day, you can click on Jamie. Information just for Jamie will pop up here. They also have a calendar view, which is very nice. As you are adding things in, it will say 3 items added on December 7th. Okay. Does that make sense so far? It's very exciting. So I have get class code here. So here's my QR. And my students, you could put this up on your smartboard or your projector. Students could come up. You also could just do the print and kind of give just directions on what to do. So students click I'm a student, and then they scan, and they are in the class. If I come back over to Miss Sipe here, I also have invite parents. Same kind of thing. Yes, I want to enable parent access. So with the handout, each student has a QR code and a text that you would send home with that specific student. So this is for Adam's family, Brianna's family. So each student gets their own. Make sure you're paying attention to that as you are sending that out. I'm going to go back into my settings for one more time. I'm going to do Lindsay Sipe, and I want to do Manage Class. So I have Miss Sipe's math class, 3rd grade. I have managed teachers, so I can invite multiple teachers. So if I have a music teacher or a TD teacher that I'm working with, I can invite those teachers. I also could invite facilitators or administrators to be a part of my group so they can see what's going on in my class, which I think is awesome. So student sign-in mode, we have shared devices. If it's a one-to-one device, you could change that. Manage students, this is where I can add my students in or remove students if I wanted to. As the teacher, you can change their icon. So if, they really just don't like that koala, you can also do an icon. So it could be their face. Just do use photo, use camera, or upload your image. And then it can be the student's face, which is nice. And then we also have parents. And you can get to that handout again. So again, this is a relatively new product, but they are making changes and adding things all the time. It's incredible to see the process of how it has grown from April. It really is phenomenal. Students can see each other's work. If you don't want students to see each other's work, you can turn that off. I will leave that on. I think it's really neat to see the collaboration that happens between students and the commenting and liking that can happen. Speaking of, we can change that comment and like. So if you don't want students to be able to like, just switch it off, turn it back on if you change your mind. I would recommend doing new comments require approval. So if students comment on somebody else's work, the teacher is going to see it first and kind of vet it, make sure everything is okay. Editing items after it has been posted. And then you also have lots of options for parents. Invite parents, manage parents, pending parent approvals. So as parents come in, you are going to have to approve them. And you can do enable parent sharing and enable parent likes. Parents can comment. And again, they have to be approved by the teacher if you leave that on. Parents are not going to see other students' work unless it's a group project and they are tagged in the group project, then they will. There's a class blog. The teacher can write in the class blog, or the students can write in the class blog. So if you want students to be able to add to that class blog, you just switch that on, and then your students are able to share. So I'm going to do, my blog is now blog.seesaw.me/Lindsay Sipe. Let me show you what some work is going to look like here. So I'm going to hit plus sign and I have options. I can take a photo of work, I can take a drawing, I can upload a file, do a note, or send a link. On the iPad, you can also capture video and annotate over top of the video, which is awesome because then your students could solve a math problem and parents could actually see them going through the steps of solving a math problem instead of just clicking a photo of a math problem. Very, very powerful. So something for you to think about. So if I do drawing, my students are working on a math problem, I can come over and change the color here. I can change my pen size, and I can do 2 plus 2 equals 4. So if I really wanted to, I could use the trackpad to have my students solving math problems. Again, if you're using the iPad or the Chromebooks, capturing that video and having them work and complete that on video would be extremely powerful. So as the teacher, I'm going to hit check. Students are going to see similar. Okay, so this is group 1. This is their math problem. So that's my caption. I could add another drawing or I can add audio over top of it. So if I add audio, I solved this math problem by adding 2 to 2. I used counters and I got to 4. Okay, So once I'm finished, I hit stop. There's my audio. I solved this math problem. Okay. Once I'm finished with that, I'm going to hit check. So now I have a caption, and I also have audio. And as the teacher, if you wanted to go through and correct this and say, okay, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 1, 2, 3, 4, you can do that as well. So then students can see, more work or feedback that you have given them. You can tag all of your students, or you could tag a group of students. So here's my group 1, and I'm going to hit the checkbox. And now you'll see my feed start to populate. So now I have all of my students that are associated with my feed. The teacher can like, the teacher can comment. If you change your mind, you could always delete that later. You could flag it if you wanted to come back, and you could also put it in a folder. So the folders, I always suggest people do math, science, all the English language arts, all of the subjects that you're teaching. Okay, so now if I click on folder, I can say, okay, this one goes into math. Voila. So now it's flagged as math. If I click on Adam, you can see the work he's been involved on. And if I click on Gary, you can see Gary doesn't have any work yet. But Carrie has some work that has been put in there. Now let's take a look back at the calendar. You can see that it says 1 item has been added. And I also have my class blog where we could start blogging and sharing our learning with the world, which is pretty powerful. So again, on the iPad, you have that drawing and annotating tool where it's going to record you actually going through and drawing, which is pretty neat. This is SeeSaw. I hope you think it's useful. I think it is a great tool. I encourage you to try it. I am more than happy to come out and co-teach or pull a small group and show them how to use it as you get started, or just be floating around in the back of your classroom if you need a little bit more support. So check it out. Post your questions on Google Classroom, and I will make sure that I am answering as quickly as possible. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time